I would like to tell you today about Brian, a nephew for whom our family has been praying for years. My sister Doris and her husband Ed adopted Brian when he was a baby. Blonde hair, dark brown eyes, cute and lovable. As he grew, they noticed he was troubled with ADD. So school was very difficult, but he was good with doing things with his hands and with technology type activities. Along the way, as an early teenager, Brian and the boy who lived at the end of their long farm lane became friends. They think his start with drugs may have had its very beginning with this neighbor boy smoking marijuana. Brian was about 15 years old. Brian began to do wild parties, would move in with a buddy and would go from bad to worse. He got in trouble with the law. He had girlfriends. He overdosed numerous times over the years and one time ended up in the ICU. He joined the National Guard and was deployed to Iraq. During training, he broke a leg and was given an opiate drug for pain, and his med for ADD was also an upper. He was fed these two meds the whole time he was in Iraq. When he came home, he was given a good job on a military base, but lost it because of his issues. Brian became addicted to heroin, and over the years he was in and out of rehab. He seemed to believe he could handle it himself, but of course he could not. Eventually, he met Erica. Erica knew he had drug problems, but she also had issues. They married in 2015. Life was up and down, with both having major crises. In May of 2016, our family felt it was time to begin a serious prayer journey for Brian. A weekly email was begun and sent to all 9 siblings and some nieces and nephews. We call it our prayer war room update. Each Tuesday, an email is typed giving the successes and failures over the past week, along with 2 lists called praises and petitions, saying how we should pray. Thursday is the day of the week designated specifically as prayer day. There are always praises because God is always at work, and there are always petitions because the enemy is hanging on, trying hard to win. Then last year, in November 2019, exactly 1 year ago, Brian overdosed again. He came home and an argument began. He was mad. He threw Erica against the wall, leaving a hole in the wall. Daughter Dakota had bruises. Erica called the police. More weeping, more prayers, more words of encouragement, more ups and more downs. For the first time, Brian admitted he was an addict. He completed the rehab he was admitted to. Christian marriage counseling was set up that clicked with them and continued throughout the year. Brian and Erica have learned to say, "I'm sorry," and "thank you." They are relating with each other. Erica says that over the past year with Brian, she has lost so much of her anger. They've gotten involved in a church where they get sound Bible teaching. Brian began to take interest in being responsible to work and care for his family. He loves Charlie Mae, their 1.5-year-old daughter, who brings them much joy and entertainment. One night while on the job, Brian and his co-worker Chuck had a jerk-up. They had an accident with their truck that killed or nearly killed Brian. Brian and Chuck both feel God brought him back to life. Since then, Chuck, an unbeliever, has been asking Brian questions about God and life. Earlier this month, Brian and family moved into a small, cozy house with a fenced-in backyard. Brian has trimmed around the house and the yard. A little shed there has become Brian's workshop. He fixed it up and then invited Erica into his man cove. A cardboard box became a table. Sushi was ordered. Last Sunday night, after having guests over, Erica was just too tired to wash the dishes and clean up the living room, so went straight to bed. Later, Brian came home from work, and having forgotten to take his medicine, he couldn't sleep. So he got up, washed the dishes, and put the living room in order. He built a fire in the fireplace and put on Christmas music, then left for his morning work. What an enormous surprise for Erica when she got up. She said a year ago he wouldn't have done that. It is now November 2020. 1 year has passed since Brian's last overdose. But the battle is not over. We know we need to keep praying because the enemy does not easily give up on those he has had control over. It's been a daily decision for Brian to say no to drugs, and it's daily we keep praying for his continuous victory. All credit to God for what is happening to this little family. It's only through Jesus and his resurrection power that this family is who they are today in November 2020. In closing, I would like to add that prayer is powerful because God is powerful, and God has chosen to reveal his power through prayer. Thank you.